everyone. Welcome back. Thank you for bringing your energy to these readings, for sharing your love and your presence, really. It's always an honor when someone shares their energy with us, even if it is to teach us lessons, right? um, I'll try to be quick. I, I really do try, so I'm not going to waste a lot of time here. Couple things though. So I have a couple cats, and they have their own personalities, and they all kind of like to be involved in these readings. And so, because I see them as journeys, the reading can stay on my desk for a few days. You know, I come in, I meditate on things, I sit and reflect um, into myself each of the characters that or the archetypes that comes out in the reading. And one of the reasons why I decided to keep this particular reading and to expand on it here with all of you is because I have a couple of handmade cards that I pulled. And one of them says, someone needs your help, guidance, and support. And another one says, wandering between worlds, realms, and dimensions. And I, I mean, there are always times when people call on us to help them, right? Whether it be to help bring clarity to a situation, peace, comfort, to share, you know, in our wisdom, our own experiences, these sorts of things, right? But this one, I don't know. I feel like this isn't just speaking to me, right? It's not just speaking to one particular person. That there are archetypes in here where they are kind of all being spoken to in a sense, and that perhaps one or more of you may be needed in some way, shape, or form. Okay, so I'm gonna yeah, I'm gonna get started. Sorry about that. So, I've made other notes that were not mentioned in the reading that I just posted. God, I don't even remember what I named it. It is the Oracle Flame reading that was just posted before this. So it's an initiation. It's like an initiation of a High Priestess energy. Okay. Now, one of my cats, obviously, before I came in here, had knocked off a card. Now, not a card that I had already had up here. Actually, it's a little deck that I don't use very often, but it sits away from my desk. And I don't know how really I missed this card, but it was lying face up under my chair when I came in. And it is a lightning bolt. It represents sudden change, shocking news, surprise, epiphany, upheaval, and transformation. So it's sort of like the Tower card, right? But when I reached down, picked it up and put it down, I just put it on the desk to kind of put it out of the way. And then after I sat and started looking, I realized that it fell. I had placed it over the card that says someone needs your help, guidance, or support, right? So I feel like this person, possibly someone who is kind of wavering or wandering between the worlds, between, say, what is seen and what is unseen, and they're looking for clarity, but they've had some sort of epiphany, right? There has been some sort of knowledge that has come, which may be surprising or shocking, but it has caused a sort of epiphany that has them seeking a deeper truth, a deeper meaning behind things. And this may be something to do with the past. It could have something to do with childhood, um, childhood bonds, family bonds. Um, but I feel like it is breaking free from this sort of, well, I'll just tell you the card that came out says evil and demonic, right? So it is from a childhood where perhaps they were just surrounded or raised by or um, targeted by those who really were very toxic, very harmful, abusive, neglectful, just a really extremely, um, say, traumatic childhood, right? Or a extreme trauma from the past. And it may be that they are breaking free from this illusion, right? This illusion that they are powerless in a way. Okay. Now, the reading begins with a Queen of Wands who is a sort of mentor, that she acts as one who teaches, who guides, who leads, those who are perhaps dependent on her, right, for knowledge. And what they do not see, all right, is that there is this sort of, she's holding a knife behind her back. And so it tells me that she's leading them in almost a premeditated manner to either a place that is not good, right? It is showing that she's falsely representing herself. She's falsely representing her intentions, right? And she's doing so in the energy of the High Priestess. And what she presents is actually an optical illusion. All right, because it is based on dishonesty. It is not an authentic energy, whereas the Queen of Wands can be a sort of seductress, right? She can be very charming, very charismatic. Um, she has a very strong passion, right? And desire. She can be very creative. Um, but typically, in a balanced energy, she is tuned in with spirit. And so she is one who would have learned how to balance the fire, how to temper the fire that she carries so that it does not become aggressive, so that it does not become narcissistic, right? So that it helps bring transformation to others. Fire is a transforming energy. We put fire to things to purify them, right? To remove the impurities. And a Queen of Wands in her balanced energy would do so, but with love, with compassion, with joy, with a sense of empowerment, right? She would empower those who had perhaps been unjustly harmed. But, and if you will, just think of each of these archetypes in both polarities, right? So this could be multiple people that appear, right? But at the same time, when we look at things, we see the whole. We see where, in order to have tempered this fire within her, this Queen of Wands would have had to be tested with a fire that was very imbalanced. All right, that it was toxic, explosive at times. Perhaps it was angry and resentful. Perhaps she had met vengeance face to face. But instead of allowing vengeance to become her, she was able to temper this fire in such a way that it brought healing, that it transmuted all of those lower vibrational energies. But in this reading, we are seeing not just one polarity, but both. And so this is what has led me to this sort of initiation, right? Spirit had said that it was really more of an initiation, a time where we are confronted with the illusions, all right, that we have fallen into, all right, perhaps through the deceit or the manipulation or the projections that had been cast. And because we take these things on, right, they say don't take it personal, but we do. It's just that some of us, when we take it personal, we go inside and we ask ourselves, how can I transmute this? How can I become a higher version of myself without this energy? Where does this energy exist if it exists in me? And so many times we can take on this projection and become lost, right, in the illusion that what is being projected, what the image that is being reflected before us is our shadow in some way. And this reading, when these two confront or come together, there is a moment where the one who has done the inner work, the one who has gone within to heal themselves of their own past traumas, their own wounds, that they begin to ask themselves, wait a minute, why am I feeling anxious? Why do I feel like I want to walk away from everything? And maybe it's in a passing moment, right? It comes in, it's there for a short time, and then you catch yourself saying, I have a beautiful life. I don't want to walk away from this. And you start to question, then where did that energy come from? That's not my energy. So where does it come from? Why have I attracted it? Why is it in my field? And I feel like we're about to find out why. So anyway, part of Spirit's guidance is that we are called to release this illusory projection, to recognize that it is not our energy, that it is an illusion that has been cast, almost like a film, a veil, a fog, right? To cause confusion, to have us second guessing our purpose, have us second guessing how we feel, what we think, the words that we speak, where we are in life, what we're doing, right? And so we're called to see through this illusion, because the entrapment for the initiate is to believe that the illusion that is being cast is somehow theirs, right? And theirs alone. That's the entrapment. It's like I hear it really isn't all about you, honey, right? And not in a sarcastic way. It's in a loving way, like I feel loved. It really is not all about us personally. That there is a collective energy, that there is a sort of false coding, right? That is falling. And the reason that that is falling is because of the work that so many of us have done inwardly. And we reach a point where we're called to recognize on that deep of a level, however deep we have gone, we are called to recognize what is truly ours and what is part of the illusion, right? And so we're called to release this responsibility. We're called to release any feelings of obligation to it. Now, a lot of this may have to do with abandonment issues as well. And these abandonment issues, they can leave us feeling insecure, or manifest as loneliness, right? They can manifest into codependencies, a tendency to cling too tightly, right? Have they can create like difficulties trusting others, or a tendency to push people away before they even have a chance to leave, like before they even have a chance to show who they are. And it usually stems from a past experience of neglect or loss, or some sort of emotional withdrawing, right? Where we felt alone, where we felt misunderstood, where we felt unseen. And Spirit is also showing me this Queen of Wands in the higher vibrational energy, one that cherishes relationships, one that has a profound love and devotion, that they nurture these relationships, they cultivate enduring connections, and they recognize emotional bonds and mutual support, inviting a harmonious and enriching experience, okay, of love. And this Queen of Wands is, I feel like she's in a celebratory energy, though I do not feel like she's boastful about it, right? So as much of a fire as she carries, it is almost a humble fire in this Queen of Wands, who is also in this mentor, or has been in this mentor energy, and she has learned how to balance the unseen with the seen. So, for example, there was a time when I was called into analyzing the markets, right? Technical analyst. As a technical analyst, right? To learn how to see for myself where my investments would go. And this was a deep study, and it's a very mental space. You're really using your mind, and your emotions really have no place in that arena, because they can cause you to become imbalanced. You know, when it comes to numbers, numbers don't have feelings, right? They don't care how you feel. They just are. And in that journey, I had to learn how to keep my emotions in check. I had to learn how to have that inward balance, so that I could become successful at analyzing these charts, right, as an investor. Now, what happens is, years later, I am called to bring forward, right, the spiritual part of myself, okay, to begin manifesting this spiritual knowledge, this spiritual experience that I have had in the material form. Okay, so it's, say, for example, I would come forward as a technical analysis or an analyst who is also very spiritual, who is intuitive, who trusts her instincts, who trusts her spiritual guidance. and to operate in these energies at the same time, right? I mean, it's easy to go in, as hard as it was, easy to go into something and find that inner balance so that you can maintain doing that one thing day in and day out. But it is something else when you're asked to carry both balls, right? You're asked to carry both experiences and to maintain balance in that. So this, I feel, is part of the calling, right? To where we not only share perhaps what we do for a career, right? But to also bring into this earthly realm who we are as spiritual beings. And so it is a time when we will meet those energies which have portrayed themselves in light, but accused the light of being the dark, right? So we have seen that for years, where one party will accuse another party of doing exactly what they've been doing, and they will try to take on the appearance, right, of the innocent party. It's a whole little paradigm at work that I feel is about to experience its own apocalypse. And it may have even begun in some people's personal lives, right? So it may have already begun to be revealed and to show signs and symbols and synchronicities that this energy that we have been taking on as our own to transmute and transcend is actually not ours, and that it is about to be exposed. Because I also have here with the Queen of Wands, who is misusing this High Priestess energy, right? Is an empty vessel, that they're really hollow inside. I mean, I have a card here that represents our body, and on top of it is a card with an empty chair that says emptiness. That tells me it is a hollow vessel, that they carry no true substance. They offer no true sustenance. All right. And so this High Priestess energy, right, kind of steps forward through this optical illusion, and it brings about a plot twist, because the destroyer has arrived. All right. Now, the destroyer has necessary and yet painful work to do in the world. This is part of Kim Krantz's Wild Unknown Archetype deck. And the card says that the destroyer reminds us that nothing outside ourselves is permanent. It pulls the rug out from under relationships, jobs, homes, all forms of security, so that we may uncover our true purpose. So we do not linger in the comfortability for too long. And this is the moment heads roll, the ground opens up, and castles crumble. It says, hold on for the ride, for the destroyer is here. And that falls under the High Priestess. And I feel like part of this has actually, already started to take place. Like a lot of it is being done or has been done, because the High Priestess has watched the destroyer silently. And this is the reason she stands forward. And she has stayed true to herself in that. But it brings about a tension now. And when I say tension, I mean like pulling a rubber band tension. Okay, it creates tension because the false high priestess, right, now sees the true high priestess. The false priestess never in a million years expected the true high priestess to rise, to stand, to show herself. Because as the high priestess, she has dwelled in realms unseen and in solitude. She has been a solitary creature, like the Black Panther, right? And so this unexpected arrival of a true being of light, right, creates a tension inside this ill-intended Queen of Wands. All right. Now, this Queen of Wands, she doesn't care about boundaries, obviously. She's willing to do what she has to do to get what she wants. She may be doing it with a smile, which I believe they truly are. We see this manifest in so many people around the world today on so many levels, where we receive news of someone who has been exposed for something they are not, right? Or, yeah, where we see that they have portrayed themselves as a charismatic leader or a healer or a mentor, and then we find out that they have been plotting and planning and deceiving and conniving and casting out confusion and illusions behind closed doors, right? And so the high priestess knows these boundaries. She knows the boundaries that exist between dark and light. She has walked that line. She's had to walk that line in order to be the high priestess, in order to be able to balance the seen with the unseen, to be that solitary creature, but yet be able to call in her tribe, to have the ability to reach out and to nurture relationships with others, right? With those beside herself, right? She's had to learn this balance. And I have the poet here, okay? And the poet is someone who goes like their work is to feel immensely, all right? To not be afraid. And they must seek out the truth in the darkest corners of the world. This is their passion. This is their purpose. They are the creator, right? They explore those deep, dark feelings and emotions, and then they bring them out and they portray them, even if it is dark, even if it is unfair or unjust. You think of some of your greater playwrights and your poets and your artists who can bring out the awareness of energies and portray them with beauty, right? To show the beauty beyond the pain, to show the liberation to the captive, right? To the truth to the bound, if that makes sense. And this poet has an abundance of wisdom. All right. They are the one who communicates, though it may be vague, there is a much deeper meaning beneath their words. Okay. It's like, their perception causes others to seek that deeper meaning, to move into the unconscious, to explore the subconscious realms of themselves, those inward places. And this can raise the consciousness of those around the poet. All right, so long as it is a true, honest, authentic energy poet. Okay. And this is part of the illusion, because this Queen of Wands has also learned the language of the poet, though she has never been able to balance and temper those darker places within herself. She has painted herself as one who is healed with the words of the poet. And when that high priestess steps forward in her authenticity, the tension that is created brings about this destruction, right? This destruction of the illusion, because she is not tempered. She has not done the healing. And this is a moment when the trigger is in her face, where she is having to look into the mirror, okay, and see herself instead of the illusion that she has painted for others. She sees herself, and it does not look pretty. And she begins to unravel because of her fear of others seeing her too. So some may try to duck out, may try to run. Some may become defensive. Some may become arrogant. Some may gaslight, though I feel in more of a spiritual sense. but gradually what lays in the middle is the desert. It is that scorched earth where we must find those places, those resources that we have built up within us to survive. That deeper meaning is the well of water that the poet is seeking while he's in the desert. It is the water that sustains the poet, that sustains the high priestess in the desert. They know where the well is. They've been there. They dug it. They've drawn up the healing waters from within. Okay? And in that, it acts as sort of a 5D portal is what I have, right? So it's a higher dimensional resonance of wisdom, of knowledge, of understanding. Okay. And I pulled out under the desert one of my handmade cards again that says you are divinity unfolding. All right. Now it may look like, and you may, or the high priestess may have even been accused of thinking that she walks on water. It may look easy to those around, but those who walk with you, right, silently, maybe you do not see, feel, taste, touch, smell them, but there are those who walk with this high priestess in this high priestess energy also, who have learned now how to convey the wisdom and the experience and the truth in a manner that leads those around them into that deeper well of meaning within them, that flow within them. Okay. And so it looks easy to a lot of people. It looks easy to this Queen of Wands in her negative polarity. It can look like you're just too good to be true. There has to be something wrong with you, especially to someone who has not healed, especially to someone who is trying to diminish the light, right? Because God forbid anyone see the true light, because then they would not succeed at whatever they're trying to obtain, whether it be riches, whether it be more relationships, whether it be a lover, a partner, a friend, a group, followers, whatever it is they're trying to obtain. They have to be able to silence the authentic high priestess. The problem is she stood up. She showed herself. She walked into the room. Probably not speaking very loudly, if anything at all. Maybe turning heads. Maybe leaving jaws dropped, hearts gasping. It's almost like someone who has risen from the dead. Only now she has risen in her true form, the one that was buried under the childhood trauma, the one who was never supposed to have survived, the one who walked as fire uncontrolled, has now what? Flipped the script? She has what? Healed? But she has witnessed and she has observed. And there is someone who needs her help, her guidance, her support, someone who is wavering, someone who is wandering. What is real? Where do I go from here? How do I know the true path? What is wisdom if not shared? And so toward the end here, we have the apocalypse, okay? And the moon. This is what is not seen. This is what has been hidden, being dragged out into the light, and it does not feel pleasant. Okay? It does not feel pleasant. It can indicate a particularly painful time, one that unfolds when two disparate dynamics occur simultaneously that pulls the psyche into two different directions. Because now, all those who were used to seeing this Queen of Wands present herself as this High Priestess are now seeing this High Priestess and this Queen of Wands, this pretender, side by side. And something doesn't fit. They don't exactly look like each other. They might sound a lot alike, right? They might move a lot alike. They may even hunt out their goals, their desires in similar ways. They may even have the same goals and desires. But one is carrying a sword of truth and a scale. And one is having an epiphany. And one is remaining balanced. And one is having their eye open to the truth beneath the cover. Because this Queen of Wands has presented herself as one who has had ancient knowledge. The problem is she's so imbalanced when she tries to turn the page, she lights it on fire. So she has to mimic. She has to pretend. Because she has not yet learned to temper herself inwardly. And so in this great apocalypse, there is a revealing. Truths hidden that are kept in the dark are revealed and seen and unearthed. And sometimes, no matter how relieving it can be, to see these secrets exposed, these dark ones exposed. So many people asking for exposure. And when that exposure comes, it reveals those who have been traumatized and bound and held captive to it. And our hearts cry and they ache and with love and compassion. Sometimes we don't even expect to see the trauma or the abuse or the wound or the scars that lay beneath the exposure. What then when it's all exposed? What then when those who have been hidden, who have been suppressed, come forward? As the truth begins to be revealed. It's not easy. I'll give you a little more about me and my experience. I went through a very traumatizing time when I was a child, and it lasted for a very long time. And I developed a sort of respect and love and compassion for those who perpetrated their crimes against me, let's just say, okay? But there was a time when I came out of it and and there was an unveiling. There was this revelatory moment where I realized that the things that were done to me were very, very bad, that people get punished for them, that justice must be had. And when I revealed myself, there were people who were very shocked. They were glad I stepped forward, but when they saw what I released from within myself, they sat with jaws gaping wide. Like, now what do? We just let Pandora out of the box. They were not prepared. They had not prepared to be guiding anyone. They had only waited for that moment to arrive when the truth would be revealed. And so there are times when we are called to witness, to observe, to be that place of peace, of wisdom, of discernment, so that others may see the truth, so that others may see the light for themselves. To have the courage and the confidence to come forward, to heal. But it takes someone who recognizes the perseverance that has been had, the struggles and the challenges that have been overcome, someone who recognizes the wisdom that is within them and calls that wisdom out, who recognizes the love and the purity and the innocence within them and calls that love and purity and innocence out into the light, that welcomes them. And not with words that are hollow, but with eyes that see them. Now, above this apocalypse, the arrow came out, and this arrow faces north. This could be someone walking in their north node, in their purpose, in their destiny, someone following their north star. But this arrow is also protection. And I just wanted to read real quickly. I know these go on, you guys. Thank you so much for still hanging out if you're still here. But the message is arrows have been long revered as symbols of protection, as many hunter-gatherers would use the bow and arrow as a weapon of defense. When an arrow appears in a meditation or dream or an oracle reading, it is a sign you need to protect yourself and what is important to you, because not everyone has the same intentions as you do. And I feel some are recognizing this, right? This doesn't mean that people are intentionally wanting to hurt you, but they could be careless in their choices and actions, and this could affect you. There are energies around you that could lower your vibration, and it's important you become aware of them and aren't brought down by them. So they're recognizing the low vibration. They're recognizing how they have been fooled, how they have had this belief, this illusory belief, or this belief in this illusion, right? How their heart, their faith, their trust has now been betrayed. And the card that was at the bottom of the deck is the Heart Guardian. And the Heart Guardian is an angelic energy that can help you call for protection and guidance with all issues surrounding the heart. This is especially the angel who helps you with all relationships, whether they be with yourself, family, or even a romantic connection. She can enable you to move beyond any limiting fears about trust, discern whom to trust, and understand how you can move forward in a balanced relationship with that person. In this card, she is adorned with a sacred heart and draped in a red cloak to show her capacity to let love lead the way. And the extended message is you are love, lovable and loving. The energy of love is surrounding your whole world at this time. Angels are swirling around you, encouraging you to open your heart and reveal the blessings you have to offer. They want you to know that you are a highly loving being who deserves to give and receive love. And if you are finding it challenging to feel love at this time, it is important for you to give yourself credit where credit is due. You are also encouraged to welcome support from others. Learn to receive. Don't try and do everything on your own. If you are working on a relationship or in a new relationship, this card can usher in energies that allow you to forge a powerful connection with your partner. Love is in the air because beneath all the trauma, beneath the false beliefs, beneath the illusion, behind that cracked mirror, that broken ego, there is a love that is so innocent and so pure that it has survived the unsurvivable. It is the miracle within you. And this arrow and this heart guardian stand above this apocalypse that reveals this corruption of this Queen of Wands, this pretender who has been after with this greedy, hungry spirit, right? It's all about what she can get, all about what she has, all about what people will see her as. While she has silenced those that were called to follow her, guidance, her wisdom. And it's not that she hasn't had a purpose. She absolutely had a purpose, because now she's led them through destruction to a desert where this apocalyptic experience has come through and revealed truths of who they are. It was an experience that brought an awakening. Only now, who do they turn to when they awaken? Who do they turn to when the wound from the past has been ripped open and lay gaping? Who do they trust? So there is a calling forward of the High Priestess who has sat and healed and dwelled in the silence, in the underground, in that deeper well. And Spirit is saying, your wisdom, its time is now. And it is that calling, it is that stepping forward, revealing your truth, revealing your wisdom, revealing the balance, the healing that lies within. Your ability to see the beauty beyond the pain. That closes out this chapter. It breaks that mirrored reflection that was never true. It was never yours. It was never theirs. It was never ours. It frees souls from the betrayal of the false illusions. Okay, I'm gonna Spirit is saying you're right where you are meant to be, and you are headed in the right direction at the right time. You hold that mutable energy, that youthful energy. You've healed that inner child. And it's time to embrace true love. True love, deep, intimate friendships. They are coming. Just know that through it all, it ends with success. It ends with joy. It is a karmic cycle, an ancient spell that has been unraveled, that has been healed, released. and success is on its way. I just want to see what guardian angels are coming in to assist us at this time. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. So we have Zachariah, angel of the apocalypse, who restores the spirit, reveals your attachments, protects children, heals emotions, and brings courage. I reveal truth, guide humanity through times of upheaval, and bring souls to God for judgment. The stone is hematite, the time is now, and its motto is the great revealing. And then we have at the bottom of the deck, balance, peace. Keeper, it's Raquel, keeper of the Akashic records. It's meditating, things going according to plan and divine order. It is sacred knowledge coming forward. It says, I bring balance, order, and justice to those who ask and who desire to follow their soul's divine will and the higher purpose, their higher purpose, right? And then we have in the middle, cut the middle of the deck. And we have Sandalphon, which is an angel of music. So music, frequency, different frequencies, right, may help heal. It's harmonic healing. It's the 5th chakra. Melody, clairaudience, creative expression, and poetry. It is finding your voice. It is allowing your voice to carry that harmonic vibration, that harmonic frequency that touches the lives and the hearts of others, that answers the question, who do we trust? And it's not to say that we present ourselves as that, but that we help others find that within themselves, their own power, their own protection, their own light, to see themselves as the miracle they are. The stone is turquoise. The time is days. And it says communicating clearly. And then we have Sachiel, which is the bringer of prosperity and abundance, prestige, feeling good, opulence, splendor, hope, wealth, generosity, and great luck. This is expansion. This is change. This is Jupiter energy. It says, I help you tune into higher octaves of abundance to magnify the good things in life. This is being led into a more positive, high vibrational surrounding, right? It is recognizing the traps and the snares and the illusions and the lies and the deception and coming into a place, and we are being guided and asked to bring in joy, right? To recognize the value of who we are. And we have, oh wow, Jophiel. This is appreciating the beauty, following your bliss, joyful fulfillment, living authentically. She's a patron of artists again, with the poet, expanding your consciousness by taking time to appreciate beauty and reveling in the lusciousness of all creation. The timing is 4 to 6 months. This beginning now, lasting possibly 4 to 6 months. But it is breaking this repetitive pattern that shows up as feeling stuck in the same situations or behavior that, despite your desire for change, it requires awareness, courage, and the willingness to make a difference. Choices for growth and healing are made. It's finding those communities where you can feel safe and they are there. It's just that some, I feel, maybe they're not formed yet. Maybe there are some being called to form that sacred space, that safe place. Those communities which support. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I have here someone who is being spiritually guided away now, um, perhaps from a community, perhaps from a collaboration, um, but they're being guided away and called to create, right? They're called to release their creativity. This is inspired. It brings inspiration. It is being led, spiritually guided to a place of inspiration, away from this negative situation, this, I don't know really what to call it, but to be guided away from this Queen of Wands who is all about the money for real, because it comes in and it's trying to control things. It's trying to bind things to her that bring that independence, that bring that wealth, that bring the attention, right? Uh-huh. And at the bottom of the deck, it's the High Priestess. The High Priestess steps forward, and behind her is the Five of Swords, and it says opponents experience a sense of defeat. And it looks like some may be seeking that spiritual guidance, because the Hierophant is behind them with the Strength card. These are people who have been strong. They're seeking guidance. And Spirit is guiding them. There's a variety of places, a variety of faces, a variety of choices. And for those seeking those soul tribes, those seeking those places, those safe spaces, they're being asked to follow their intuition, to use their discernment. It's been a long haul for some, a long haul. And I thank Spirit for being here today. I thank them for their guidance and their support. I thank them for the truth and the clarity that they bring to these situations. And I thank you for hanging out with me, for sticking it through, for being here to the end. I truly do. Is always appreciated. And the last card here says, the moment I embrace my peace within and surrender the outcome is the moment that the universe can truly get to work. And when I lean on the faith of the universe, peace becomes real. And the more energy, the more positive energy and intention that I bring to my faith, the more fearless and free I am. And we'll leave it at that. I thank you all for being here. Any information about me will be in the description box below. I love you all. I wish you well. I hope you've enjoyed your celebrations and your fireworks. And know that the angels and the guides are with you and that love surrounds you. I love you all, and I will see you on the other side. Peace.